Good evening.
Hello.
We're restarting for the second time. Starting for the second time because I forgot to turn on my mic.
We had a whole ass conversation,
It was a
but
good
it's okay.
conversation.
But welcome back to the TTYL podcast
Welcome
with your
back.
co-host. I'm Sarah.
I'm Adrian.
And what have we got today, AIDS?
We're going to be talking about our trauma and how it's shaped our current experiences in life. I hope it's like a vulnerable episode that you guys can see more sides of us and maybe something we say resonates with you guys.
So basically what we were saying when AIDS' mic was off, is there a difference in how vulnerable we should be if it's just like our friends talking to each other
Right.
versus camera on and like in a podcast form? Because what you were saying that you've been seeing, like, what were you saying, like people think they can
It's
do a
just like-
podcast?
It's just like anyone, I think like because podcasts are so like accessible, like anyone thinks that they can make a podcast. And then like the question is always like, when it's like a more friend group, like should everything they say in a friend group be like online? And I think the answer to that is no. But when it comes to like our personal stories and trauma and whatnot, like I do wonder if there's like a boundary that we should not cross. I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens today.
We'll play around.
We'll play around. So I guess today we're just gonna yap about some stories, and then we'll talk about lessons we learned, and then how we are right now.
Yes.
This is like our lore, kind of, you know?
Yeah, like one of my favorite questions to ask people, which honestly I haven't really been asking people that much, but one of them is, why are you the way that you are today? Yeah.
It's like
what things have made you?
You know when Marvel says like canon events?
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah. Well, I heard it from TikTok.
Right,
Wait, it's a
right.
Marvel thing?
Yeah, it's a Marvel thing.
Oh.
It's like these things need to have happened to like shape the way you are. So yeah, I guess we're talking about our canon events.
Wait, that's funny.
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
What are we sharing today?
I'm going to go into the lore of my friendships, or how I think about friendships and relationships. And like, I guess today friendships is like a huge priority in my life, but it's also something that causes me a lot of stress.
Wait, just to be clear, the people you're mentioning in your story, you've told them that you're talking about it? Is this about?
This is from childhood, so they're not relevant in my life
Sorry, I
anymore.
just burped in the mic. Okay, cool. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we're not stepping on anybody's toes.
No, totally no. And I think I might even just use their real names because they're so far removed from my life.
Wait, how old? Sorry, just tell the story.
Yeah. Okay, so there's actually two stories that go hand in hand. So the first one is when I was in elementary school and I was, oh my gosh, this was literally kindergarten, which is crazy that I have a core memory. I was like probably 5 or 6.
I think it's funny because like at kindergarten, you don't really know like certain emotions, but you must have been so insanely hurt.
So
Still like a core
scarred.
memory to your head.
Yes. In my neighborhood, there were these 3 friends, and my best friend from childhood, her name is Selena. We were besties. We were in the same kindergarten class, which was so awesome. I like hung out with her every single day. And then there were these other 2 girlies. They were neighbors within our neighborhood, Kelly and Haley. I was friends with like all of them, and like sometimes I would go to Haley's house and we would play. Sometimes like Haley and I would play together. Kelly has like a playground in her backyard, which is so fun as a kid, so we would like always go to her backyard and play. And then one day we were at school. Selena was like sick or something, so she wasn't there. So I was so upset and I was like crying, and the whole day I was
Because
just
she
like,
wasn't there?
yeah, I was so sad.
so
I was so
funny.
attached. I was like, I'm so sad.
Oh
Like,
my God.
I miss Selena.
I'm so curious what your lesson is going to be from this. Sorry, continue.
That's where the attachment issues started. I'm kidding. Kelly is such a sweetheart. She comes over to me and she's like, I'll be your friend today. I think I was just like so upset that it wasn't Selena that I was like, I don't want you. I want Selena.
Wait, but weren't you guys, the 3 of y'all, friends already?
Sorry, me and Selena were like besties.
I see.
And this could be so skewed because this is like my perspective and what I remember. So like, I don't know if in any case any of these 3 girlies are listening to this and they remember this. Maybe they have different views. I have no idea.
So funny.
Yeah, so sweet of Kelly to do and like put herself out there to me. For some ever reason, not receptive to that, and I rejected her completely. Nothing against Kelly. Like, it's purely her mom that I have an issue with.
What?
Yeah, because her mom is like such a helicopter mom, I guess, or tiger mom. Like, I don't know, one of those where
The fuck is a hell? I've never.
her mom would tell Kelly to tell her every single thing that happened to her, like good and bad.
Wait,
she was very protective.
This is like, is she older now, or is it still like kindergarten shit?
This is still kindergarten.
That is so weird.
Yeah, and the
Anyways.
reason that I know that is because I would witness her mom telling Kelly like, hey, tell me everything that happens in school today. She was just very, very, very overly protective. And so one day I was hanging out with Haley and Kelly. We were in Kelly's backyard on her playground and just playing like normal. And then all of a sudden Kelly's mom comes out and is like, hey guys, how are you doing? I was just like so happy to see you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, hi. And then she goes, hey Sarah, you actually like can't play on this playground. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, like you just can't. I'm like, oh, okay, like why? And she was like, oh, you know, just because like it's dangerous, it's a liability, like, you know, like I'm Kelly's mom, so obviously I'm here for her, but like there's no adult to take care of you in case you get hurt. My BS meter as a 5-year-old was going off. I was like, but Haley's also playing here and like her parents aren't here. And she's like, well, but Haley's our neighbor, so like if something happens we can just get them right next door. And I was like, I literally live down the street. Like, I'm not that far. And also, this part I didn't really say, but in my head I was like,
you're really eloquent for a 5-year-old.
you know, I probably didn't say that. I probably was just like, what? Why? Huh? But I was just like, I'm sure Haley's mom or you would be willing to take care of me if something got hurt. You know what I mean? I was just like, this does not add up.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I can't fight with her. This is literally her playground and her property. So like, I can't argue with that. So I was like, okay. So then I just like, I couldn't go back to her place.
Yeah.
And to me, that was just so like odd. Even as a 5-year-old, I was like, this does not add up at all. I probably kind of heard either like her mom addressed me and was like, you said something mean to my kid, like you can't do that, like whatever. Or I heard Kelly talking to her mom about it, or her mom asking about it. I don't know. One of those three. Somehow I just like knew that kind of was the reason why she kicked me off her playground. So there's that one instance. The second instance, and then I'll like tie this together after I share the second story. So this story happened also in elementary school. It's probably a little older, like 2nd grade ish. I went to this summer camp where I knew one girl. I remember the first day it was like during the playground time. I went up to the girl and I was like, hey, do you want to play like and hang out? Because she was literally the only girl that I knew. And then she was with this other girl that she was hanging out with. She was basically like, well, I've been friends with her for longer, so I can't hang out with you like at all. So then I was just like, what the? That's so busted.
That is
so mean. So then I was like, okay, well then I guess I don't have any friends and I have to make my own friends. But then that just like made me super discouraged because I was like, oh shoot, well, I don't know how to make new friends.
Wait, how old were you in the second story?
2nd grade, probably like
oh, second grade.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Jesus.
Yeah. Anyways, so when I was doing life coaching last year, finally pieced together why friendships are so important to me now. And it's because, well, just in general, they're important, but how these scenarios have impacted how I look at friendships is literally like something that will never go away. I feel like I'll have these instincts for the rest of my life. Like basically now I'm traumatized to the point where I'm like, no one wants to be my friend. I don't have any friends. I can't say anything mean to anyone. You know, I have to be very nice, very conscious of making sure that people feel good about themselves and like me, because otherwise they will. People
pleaser type vibes.
Yeah, totally. In retrospect, I feel like that's kind of where a lot of my people pleaser tendencies came from, because like they're gonna tell their mama and then they're gonna like ban me from their life. So I have to be nice to everyone all the time, and I can't say anything mean at all, which this might be kind of related, maybe other things too, but I also feel like that's why I feel like I don't have my own opinions in a way.
Right, because your opinions will always be someone else's opinions.
It has to reflect other people. I always have to be in agreement with other people, and so I feel like now during my 20s, I'm trying to unlearn that, and I'm just trying to like do small things to build up my own self-confidence so that I can be at a place where I trust myself enough to have my own opinion and to be able to express it respectfully.
Wait, I'm gonna say something deep in reply.
Okay.
But I need my eye drops because my right eye is bugging the fuck out of me.
I thought you were gonna say you need to pee already.
No.
Like,
I didn't even drink water this time.
Well, you chugged coffee.
Yeah. One sec.
Okay, we're back.
And sponsored by Systane Eye Drops.
Are you lubed up?
I'm lubed up, and I'm crying for you.
Oh no.
All right. My deep question. I feel like as an individual, we are the sum of our opinions and our ideas. Mm-hmm. So where is this identity of self for you if all your opinions and all that stuff is like someone else's? Are you just like a hodgepodge of everyone you've met?
I think I struggled a lot with that in college.
Like, who are you, my guy?
Yeah. And I think I'm still working on it. And I also unlocked this other epiphany for me earlier this week during therapy, where basically, okay, wait, this is kind of a side quest, but bear with me. I feel like I don't have a high self-worth. I prioritize other people and their time more than I do myself and my time, which is something I'm working on. But like one of the turning points of really understanding like, wow, other people's opinions really don't matter. Like they matter to an extent, but like ultimately they don't matter, and like how I think of myself matters the most is when I think I I talked about this in an earlier episode, but it's that thing where like you realize that so many different people have so many different perspectives of you. Like some people could think you're really cool and like they look up to you. Some people think you're like really lame and like dumb, whatever, and they like don't really care about you. So it's like if all of that exists out there, then like what's really true? And then I realize what's really true is what I think of myself, and like I can build that up. And also with the whole like manifesting, gaslighting thing, like I'm just gonna think I'm a cool person and like I'll have that aura.
You're
and
not that cool.
Well, it takes one to know one, so I'm kidding.
All right, in your spirit of opinions, what about me annoys you the most?
Your mullet. I'm kidding.
That's crazy. Wow, it's like you've been thinking about this question for a long time.
I'm like
Every
so
time
glad you asked.
I see your mullet.
No, I'm kidding. It's only because I was calling Josh Sock shout out earlier, and he wanted to roast you, but he didn't get a chance because you left.
I'm too secure of a man to be
That's
roasted.
why I was. Yeah. Okay. Nobody, Adrian.
Wait, that is interesting. Wow.
Do you think you've always had a sense of self?
So that's actually related to my trauma. Wait, is there anything else you want to talk more about your trauma? That's pretty interesting though. It's just like
okay, there's one other thing that I think is super helpful and I feel like is a good way to process trauma.
Right.
For those of you wanting to process or find different tools to process. The way that my coach helped me work through it is think about what current me would say to little Sarah.
Oh, kind of like healing your inner child.
Yeah, and it was so helpful because I think in the first scenario with the kid that told her mom everything and her mom like banned me, I would tell little Sarah, it's not personal. Yes, take responsibility for how you acted because that also kind of wasn't cool for you to reject her like that. So yes, be more open-minded and like nice to people in that sense. Take accountability for that. Beyond that, like what happened ultimately wasn't your fault. Like there were other things that could have been done. Like you could have apologized to her, you know, corrected the situation at hand rather than escalating it to a point where it was just like unnecessary. So I think it's just like telling her that it's not her fault and it's like not Kelly's either. Like it's more of like this woman should have just it was a little bit yeah.
Not have an opinion.
Wait, now that I'm thinking about it, that kind of sounds like it's passing the blame. So never mind. I guess moral of the story is take accountability for your actions, but also realize that that was uncalled for and not your fault either. And then in the second scenario where my friend literally was like, I've been friends with this girl for longer, so I can't be friends with you, made me think that people don't want to be friends with me. So now I have to tell myself or like tell her that like it sucks that this one girl said that and that's so wrong of her. There are other fish in the sea. You just have to go throw your net to try to catch some, but other people do want to be friends with you and you do have friends. Just like you don't have to be friends with this one girl because she was kind of mean.
So how do you feel when, let's just say you have a bunch of friends and they meet up without you? But like you're the only one not going, but it was like unintentional. Like for example, they all watch like NBA and you don't watch NBA at all, right? So they all go to a game together, but you're not invited. Like does that make you feel some type of way? Does that like trigger anything, or you're pretty much like over it?
Like if I'm being completely honest, I would be like so hurt.
Really?
But that was like not until like a year ago being in New York where just like so many things happen all the time and all these people hang out regardless.
Before you came to New York or
before I came to New York?
Okay, I see.
Now I take it way less personally. It's also because like once I started hosting more, I realized that especially in New York, you can't invite everyone. Maybe you can. Maybe for some people they can do this. I think for me, I don't want to. But like I'm not really down to like always have everybody invite everyone they know because now I'm going to be hosting like 300 people at like a dinner party that I wanted to be like 12
Weird
people.
Flex, 300 people.
Okay, no, but it's like... every time I talk about this, it's like gotta tread carefully.
I know what you mean.
No, it's just like not even if I know them, it's like just mutuals because everyone wants to like, oh, can I bring this friend and this friend, and then their friend wants to bring their friend. But then also when I think about it, I'm like, I understand that sometimes things just happen and it's just like a coincidence for where you are, or just you just happen to be in a group at the right time, right? Whatever. Because sometimes people just plan things in the moment with whoever they're with. And if you're not there, it's not like they're not thinking of you. It's just like they just want to do something with people and they happen to be there. And I do that too. So I can't hold that accountable for other people.
Does the scenario change if it's them doing something that you do enjoy without you? For example, like a pop-up or like trying out different matchas, and you're like, again, it's like unintentional, but it's like,
no.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because, well, first of all, with those examples are very broad. You can get matcha all the time, so it's not like...
But I mean, like, it just goes back to the essence of like your friendships though, right?
Okay, yes. I think when it comes down to, and I've like, this is like something that I ironed out for myself my first year in New York, of like how I got to a place to be so secure in my friendships, from my side at least, is that I don't care if my friends hang out with each other without me, either one-on-one or like in a group or something.
Right.
I don't mind as long as I'm secure in my individual friendships with each person. So if like I feel confident in my relationship with one girly and with another girly and they both hang out without me, I'm not like, oh, why didn't they think of me? Why didn't they hang out with me? We must not be close. I'm just like, that's cool. They want one-on-one time, and like I want one-on-one time with my girlies too. So
Right.
I would hope that they don't take that personally either. So as long as I feel confident, like I mean, maybe I do have relationships where maybe I don't feel as confident. So then sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe they don't want me.
That was
but
like my like second question. Like, what percentage of your friendships are you like confident in? I'm pretty sure you have like a select few, but like how far does that confidence go? You know.
I would say,
you don't want to name names, just like a
what
percentage.
the heck? No, I would say like out of my close friends, I think I'm pretty, I think
Pretty confident in most.
because I think I need to take initiative. If I don't feel confident, then I'll take initiative to build that confidence for myself, because I don't want that to ever be in someone else's hands, which is something that I used to live by. Like I used to base my happiness almost on other people and like how often they would reach out, or like how often I got to see them, or just like getting affirmation and attention from them. But then I was like, this is so unsustainable and so unhealthy. I need to be the driver of that. So I go out and get it if I need.
I love that. So it's like safe to say you're like past this trauma.
Yeah. Well,
that's good.
Well, yes, it does come up sometimes, like in social anxiety.
Right.
But I feel like I've...
Social anxiety. Oh, I see. Like meeting new people.
When I do have... Sometimes it's fine. Sometimes when I have social anxiety, it's like really bad.
When he's cute.
Like when he's cute.
Continue. All of a sudden you're a sports fan. No. All of a sudden you go to the gym.
Yeah, I think it's because I've tackled this more head on. I feel like I've developed enough tools for myself that if I feel a certain way, I know what affirmations I need to tell myself. Because something my life coach was saying was these things never go away. Like your inner child never goes away, but you just develop more. Yeah, like you'll always have these responses maybe. Interesting. But as you grow older, you'll just be better equipped to deal with them quicker and in a more healthy way.
Damn. Healing woman is healed. Just kidding. She's still heartbroken.
Okay. All right. What's on your palette?
All right. So before I go into the story about my mom, I love my mom, but we've just had a very, very tough relationship. This is completely from my perspective. So Aaron, if you fucking see this,
his brother
and my brother, don't invalidate me because it doesn't pertain to you. But yeah, just before I start this story, just want to preface, I love my mom. She's my mom. We're close now. But it's taken a lot of growing and a lot of work done on both sides to get here. Okay. But yeah, the story is about my mom. Have I told you about the story when I got thrown out of the house at a very, very young age?
No, do tell. Good grief.
I was waiting for you to say yes.
Like, yeah.
So I guess like just some backstory. My mom never had a job. So she went, like a TA as like a grad student or whatever. But after she graduated from grad school, she married my dad, never had a day of work, and just went straight into raising my brother and I. Again, for context, I am the firstborn. My brother is secondborn, I guess. Wow. Sorry, I'm like also really like overly caffeinated. So yeah, so my mom and I had a lot of like beefing. Like we would fucking fight, like yelling, screaming. Like,
how old were you?
Literally my entire childhood.
Like ever since you could talk?
Yes. Ever since I could talk, my mom and I would just be beefing.
About what?
I'm just like looking back on some of the things that I had to do as a child, and I was kind of like, what the heck? Okay, like brushing my teeth.
What the heck? What the? She made you do that?
No. Okay, so for example, I started piano at the age of like 4. Really, really young. Classic. Really, really young. I absolutely hated it. She made me practice an hour every single day.
Oh my God. Did she like watch you practice?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I can already imagine it. It's the exact same piano I have at home in Texas right now, but I can just picture it. Just me. And then whenever, I don't know if you ever did this, they would put like an egg on your hand. And if you ever like, your hands like went down like this, they'd be like, pick up the egg, like pick up your hands, just like stuff like that. And then, so piano is a whole thing because like piano evolved into a whole, like she wanted me to do the board examinations, like go to class and like.
There's board exams for piano?
Yeah. I'm like grade 7, like some British royal music.
Oh my gosh. Did you do competitions?
No, I didn't. Thank God. Oh. That would have just murdered me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically that's my mom's relationship and I. And as Aaron became more and more like annoying, whenever Aaron would get in trouble, I would get in trouble because he would yell yell, and my mom would come and just like, oh, it's Adrian's fault, and just like hit me.
That's so unfair.
Because I know it's such bullshit. So for a while, me and my brother beefed too. I was beefing with everybody except for my dad.
Dad.
I love my dad.
Was he on your side or did he have sides?
Okay, that was another part of it. Sometimes, not that my dad was an absent father, it just feels like sometimes he wasn't there as much, because my dad would have to work like really late hours. Like in the morning, we wouldn't even see him. And then at night, he'd come back at like, let's just say 8 or 9. Just to be safe, okay? And like as a kid, you're probably like asleep by then, you know, right? So yeah, that was kind of like the trend like growing up. So kind of where the story starts is I'm like in middle school, so we get in this really, really bad fight. It gets so bad. And then like my mom was like talking shit to me, and I'm just like yelling back at her. And then like,
is it about real stuff or like you're fighting but you're not actually fighting about anything?
I guess the dumb stuff. Like she would want me to like, I don't know. I really don't know. I just remember like a lot of negative emotions.
Yeah.
And we're like fighting. And then like my mom was just like, I would throw you out of the house like if I could. And then like me as like an angsty like teenager, I'm like, yeah, do it. You won't.
She's like that.
We're like arguing Chinese. She was like, 我把你丢出去. And I'm like, 走啊. And then so like she literally went to my room, pulled out a suitcase. Okay, well she went to her room and pulled out a suitcase. Went to my room, took everything in my drawers, threw all my clothes like into the suitcase. Literally all my clothes, like this entire drawer. It's like 5 layers. Dumps everything in the suitcase, zips up the suitcase, throws it. Not even like place like at the doorway.
Aww.
She like throws it out the doorway.
Hey, that's her suitcase too.
Yeah, but she was
so mad.
I'm like loser. And then she's like leave, like to me is like leave. And then like, so me in this like, maybe middle school is a little too old. I can't remember. It happened very young. It might have been like late elementary, like 4th or 5th grade. Basically like me and my heightened dumbass, like young brain, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm getting kicked out. So she's like, leave. And I'm like, no, I don't want to leave. And she's like, leave right now. And basically she like just kicks me out. So here's the fucked up part. I have nowhere to go, okay? So I'm living in China at this point. It's like an apartment. Like we don't just have like houses we can like go over to. So she closes the door. My suitcase is like right here. And I'm just sitting there like crying my ass off. The door's locked. Like I can't get into the apartment.
Yeah.
And I'm like banging on the door. I'm screaming and just like no response from my mom.
Wait, so is Aaron home? Is
Aaron's
your dad
too
home?
scared to do anything.
Oh.
Like I can hear him on the other side.
Aww.
But it's just like,
your dad's home?
my dad's not home.
Oh, because he's like at work.
Yeah, he's at work. So like my mom throws me out, and then like I'm just crying and screaming, and I don't know how much time passed. I think to me it might have felt like an hour, but it's just like it might have been 15 minutes. I don't know. But just like mentally, I processed it as like she left me for a day.
Oh my God.
You know? Aww. So she opens the door and I go back in, and then like we unpack everything, and it's just like I'm so traumatized, like we don't say anything, and then that like ends. And then so like kind of like skipping ahead, it's just like I think that happened to me again like maybe 2 years later. And then I got in a fight like that with my dad once, again over just dumb shit. So this is the interesting part. So going back to the detail that my dad wasn't really home because he was working all the time, this came up in a conversation like 2-3 years ago when my mom and I still were like beefing. And this is me as like a 22-year-old, 23-year-old. My dad like tells me, so how do I start this? My mom and I argued, we split apart. I'm in my room just like fuming, you know, like watching YouTube. Steaming. My dad walks in, he's like, hey, like I'm just checking on you. And I'm like, cool. And then like we started talking more about my mom's relationship with me. And then like I don't know what made me, but I just like opened up to him. And then like I'm telling him like the story, thinking that he knew what happened. Oh. And then he tells me like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know this ever happened to you.
Wait, this is years later?
This is like this is like 2-3 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know this happened to you. And then like, and I told him about the other times it happened too. He's basically like shocked this ever happened. And then he like apologized that he wasn't there for me at that time. Again, like how could he? Yeah, I guess my trauma is rooted in like not being wanted. But I think specifically like with people that are more than friends almost. Does that make sense? Like loved ones.
Yes, like family or
family,
like relation,
like my SO, stuff like that. When you ask me for like where does my like self-worth come from, part of it is like that's why I'm so delulu. Like I need to give that to myself. It's just like if no one's gonna stand up for me, part of it is because my childhood. I felt like I didn't have any support from my mom like at all. There were like be times I try to like, wow, it's so weird I'm saying this like on camera. There'd be times like I try to like buy her a gift and she would just be like, it's okay, it's whatever. Like not even like a thank you or like and I always felt like with her, it's just like I'm trying to prove something to her. So, oh my God, what pissed me off in the last 3 years when I like went to Colombia and she immediately just starts bragging about I'm like, am I just like something for you to like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I think events like those really affected my relationship with my mom. Again, just going back to my trauma, it's just like the aspect of not being wanted. And I think how that shapes me now is that like I don't really feel the need to fill my life with like relationships. Does that make sense?
Like more than friend.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like I only need like the meaningful ones in my life. So for example, like family, for example, my SO. And I think that's why like I don't have a high like tolerance for like low level friendships. Does that make sense? Kind of like I guess like New York, that's kind of like the trend. Like you have a lot of like these like you see once a month, you see like once a month kind of thing. But I don't really, it sounds fucked up to say like care for those as much.
Is it like shallow friendships?
Yeah. Because like I see like those friendships kind of like as what I had with my mom, kind of like again really fucked up, like maybe not the best use of my time and like amounting to nothing. I feel like I've been trying to work on it a little more, like giving each relationship a chance to grow and not just like letting it like it is what it is kind of thing, you know, because that's how I see like my relationship with my mom. Like back then it is what it is, I couldn't have done much about it.
Yeah. Wait, is this something that you're being more mindful of in New York, or it's always been something like even in college?
I think it's hard to say. I think moving to New York gave me a set of different circumstances. I will say this. Back in Indiana, I had more close friends, but less friends in total. In New York, I have less close friends, but more friends in total.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's just like this different environment kind of like triggered that inside of me.
Totally, yeah.
So again, my mom and I are good now. We've done a lot of self-work. Like I completely forgive her. I was probably a bit of a bitch too when I was a child. Yeah, we're definitely like through that, and for that I'm very thankful. Yeah, I think it's like when you look at me like, why is he so like silly, goofy, and not like giving a fuck? I think it's also just like giving the inner child thing, like letting my inner child heal, because I didn't have the space to like be like that with my parents.
Aww.
I know it's very sad. But like I'm like no look, I promise I'm okay, but it's just like in hindsight that's what I would say my like canon event is. Like it's so sad because like it's canon event insinuates that you needed these events to become the person that you are, but like did any kid deserve to go through that kind of like trauma?
No.
Right? Like it's like you're so young, you don't know what's going on, you've been thrown out the house, you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. You know,
is that like also abandonment?
No, completely. Yeah, I have abandonment issues with ones I love. I think it's like, again, it goes back to I don't give my trust out very easily. Even like, oh my god, yeah, this is very interesting. I told my mom 2 years ago, I don't feel safe around you, like to her face. And she was like, I understand.
Aww.
Now she like has my trust and whatnot. I think it's when people I trust like let go of me. I think that's where I like get a little fearful. So even something I talked about like with Rebecca, as I'm growing to like love you more and our relationship continues to develop, I get kind of scared because I'm scared that something is gonna happen, you know?
Yeah.
Because again, there's no like guarantee that I'm gonna get married to her. I believe in one marriage. I don't believe in divorce, things like that. But it's just like it's scary that like for a relationship with your SO especially, you start off here, but it only goes up. Like you only get closer and closer and closer. And it's just like I don't know. It's weird. It feels weird. I already talked to her about this, so completely okay. But it's just like it just
she's
feels
watching.
like,
she's like, what?
Huh? That's why he hasn't been talking to me. But yeah, it's just like now I'm trying to work on, I guess, trusting more with people I love. Yeah.
I think that's really interesting how you keep distinguishing that this mostly affects like more than friends relationships.
Right.
Does it impact your friend relationships at all?
I think it's unhealthy that it doesn't impact my friend relationships.
Like, do they just seem more temporary in general?
Dude, that's hard to answer. Because then that brings in like my expat childhood. Where like friends were like leaving and going all the time, but like the only thing that was stable would be like my parents.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So okay, that's actually another thing I want to bring up.
Yeah.
I think it's like I use that reason. So just some backstory. I have had a lot of friends in my life because I'm an expat kid. So like we went to international school and people will come in and out, and like my friend groups have changed like a million times. I hate that I let that be my identity as an adult. I think it's something I need to work on and stop saying like, oh, I'm an expat kid, and so it's okay. You know what I mean?
Wait,
like
what are you
I
saying?
want friends leaving to mean a little more to me than it does right now.
Did you kind of brush it off? You're like, this is all my life.
Because like in the past, it's just like, oh, I'm just used to it. I don't think that's a
Oh.
healthy way of living. Like
what is a healthy way?
I don't think you should let your trauma or experiences like confine you to one identity. Does that make
But
sense?
I feel like you can define what works for you. Like maybe if that means like being more grateful in the moment
right.
when
no,
you
no,
are
that's
friends
the-
with them.
that's
But
what I
then
mean.
if you can let them go. I mean like being sad, but in a way, I don't know. It could be fine if
Wait,
you're
you know
like
what I'm
fine
saying
with
though?
letting
It's
them
like
go.
I feel like people are like, oh, am I gonna get canceled for saying this? Okay, sorry. This is one thing I learned in therapy. You should validate your trauma and understand how it affects you, but you shouldn't live your life according to it.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like for you, I guess it'd be like, oh, I'm a people pleaser because of like what happened as a child. So I'm just gonna people please for the rest of my life.
Here we go. This is the cards I was dealt with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I guess like in this age, like for us, it's like how do we grow and continue to be more than just like our trauma? You know?
I see, yeah. Kind of going back to the whole self-worth
Right.
identity thing, like building. I mean, I don't really know how to build myself. Like that's something that I'm exploring right now.
right.
But lately, like just meeting so many new cool people, like just throughout my time in New York, it's just like opened my eyes so much more to the different perspectives, which is like so awesome and I love so much.
Right.
But it's also there are people in my life that I'm just like cherry picking like all the amazing good qualities that they have, and I'm like, oh, I want to just aspire to be like that or want to have some of those qualities too. So I feel like when it comes to identity building and like building your self-worth and self-love and everything, I totally feel like you can craft yourself,
Right.
but you just have to be so mindful about that.
It's an active process. Like you
Yeah.
have to want to grow past whatever this is right
Yes. Like the trauma has to be the side quest, not the plot, the
now.
main character.
Exactly. But yeah, that's kind of where I am with. Again, I love my mom. We are past it.
How did you learn to
But-
build trust with her?
Wow. I don't know the answer to that question.
Whoa.
Wow. I actually don't know the answer to that question. I think biggest thing is she's grown a lot on her own. You know why, but some decisions she made almost like tore up our family. I think she sees the repercussions of her actions and wants to do better, and I appreciate that. But one thing that helped me forgive her is also just understanding that this is her first time being a mom. And her first time dealing with the situation, you know? Like, it's not like, again, the situation we will not be mentioning on camera. Like, it's not like this is her, like, 10th time dealing with this. It's her first time having an older son. It's her first time having to deal with that situation. So, like, I'm still, like, heartbroken about what happened, but I'm able to move past it. I don't want that to be the reason why I hate her for the rest of, like, our lives, you know?
Yeah.
So, I guess building trust in general, I'm not sure how or what is happening exactly, but I do forgive her, and I think that's where we both started to mend our relationship. Like her accepting and then me forgiving.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is all from my perspective, my like what happened. Like, who's to say I really wasn't like a demon child, you know? Like,
You
fuck, I could have been
deserved
annoying.
I'm kidding.
You deserve to be thrown out the
Oh
house.
my gosh.
But yeah, that is
yeah.
wow. That got really sad.
Aw.
Hey, don't own me. It's okay.
Brother,
Inner child
You're a
Adrian
man.
is thriving.
how
Inner
did that
child
feel
Adrian
to
is-
say?
I think it'll be interesting to see people hear this. But I mean, I think it just goes back to like, I think you and I want to build something more than just like having like he and be like, this is our mid 20s. This is such a cool part of our life.
Yeah.
Like, I do want to like process these things. I do want to work on myself, and I'm so excited about how we're gonna grow and change. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we're like having these conversations. You know.
Can't wait to meet 35-year-old us.
I'm really not. Oh my God, I had a patient who was 30 years old,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, so how is it? And he's like, you have nothing to look forward to.
Oh my gosh, what?
And I'm like, no,
Dude.
I'm getting older.
Dude.
It's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like our generation's all about positive self-talk and self-worth. Maybe he doesn't have enough
Exactly.
self-worth. That's the issue.
Yeah.
We-
There we go.
I should
Diagnosed him.
pitch our podcast to our patients.
Have you heard this one podcast?
That's not me though. It's okay.
Yeah, it might sound like me.
Same
but
name, but no.
No,
not me.
not your PT.
Anything else you want to say?
Okay, I'm kind of curious. I don't know how much this relates to like trauma, but just ways of thinking. So when I meet new people, I always put them on a pedestal in a way. I just think so highly of everyone that I meet. Almost like
That's really nice, actually. Everyone I meet is below me.
like actually
No,
because like I feel
I'm
like
kidding.
I don't know, I guess I haven't talked to many people about this and how they think, so I'm just curious. But I had a realization recently that I do that, and it can be hurtful to myself too, because then, you know, I think so highly of someone and then I have maybe expectations, and then over time it can only go downhill because like who's gonna, you know, who can match up to the expectations I make in my head for what a friend is like or what a potential partner or something is like. So I don't think it's like the healthiest, but I wonder
that is
if
so interesting.
other people do that.
For me, no. I see when I meet people, I see them as equal, not above or below.
Until proven otherwise.
Well, yeah, I just say like first impressions.
Yeah.
But I think the important thing, so again, going back to the self-worth thing, is like I don't see anyone as above and below, because I think that individually we're all such like complex human beings. Everything we've experienced, no one else has experienced before. So I think the fact that we have separate lives, and even if you met someone a carbon copy of you, like went to Purdue, pharmacy, yada, 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 there is always something about you that makes you different from them. And I think just that aspect of it is so beautiful and so amazing. And that's like what makes meeting all these people in New York so much fun. Because no matter like how close you think that someone is to you, you're always going to have something that's will be different from them. Like I'm sure no one has gone through that being banned from playground shit. You know, I think you just see yourself in a better light.
Yeah, I think that's,
you know,
part of it.
You have so much to offer. I can't name any off the top. I'm kidding.
Don't ask me to name
you just
any,
have so
though.
much to offer, like as a person. But then that goes to like anyone who's listening to this. You know, like you as a person, you have so much to bring to the table. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be like have a lot of money. It's just like the aspect of having lived up to this point, those experiences alone are different enough to have shaped you. And I think that's what you should bring to the table. Like your story. Like the fact that you're from Indiana is so interesting enough.
Good God.
See, I'm so not fazed by it because I went to school with you guys.
Yeah.
But whenever you meet someone else, I'm from
true.
Indiana.
Indiana?
They have Asians out there.
Oh my gosh.
So funny to see their
know.
reaction.
I always forget, and I'm like, because it's so like normal to me. It's my life. But yeah, it's so funny.
Indiana? No, it's just like small funny things like that. I
Yeah.
think that in itself makes your worth and your value already a lot more.
Yeah, I think like how I'm trying to counter this perspective is one, being aware of it. But now that I am aware of it, I'm trying to like when I meet people, just let them show me who they are rather than like projecting certain expectations onto them.
Yeah. I think it's
been a lot
also
more
like
fun.
all the negative things you think you might have. I think use it as an avenue to tell a cool story and how you're like dealing with that. So like if you're, I don't know, I'm just making shit up. For example, if you're struggling with like your weight, then you can turn that into I'm like working out for myself and prioritizing like a better lifestyle and whatnot. And I think just like if you're a stranger hearing that, you're like, oh, like, oh, woo you know? So I think it's just like a way of framing and phrasing certain things.
Framing, yes.
Like I would say like, oh, my small hands are like kind of bad. But hey, I can put my hands in places that you can't.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe we'll cut this
Why does
last
that
part out.
sound so sus?
That's pretty sus. Intentionally. I'm thinking about the clips.
Okay, do you have any other thoughts?
If anyone is comfortable enough, it'd be interesting to hear y'all's canon events. I guess you can call it trauma. Let's call it canon events. I don't like the word trauma. Trauma is because you could have a happy canon event.
Yeah, that's true.
Like meeting your boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yes.
But if you have any canon events, feel free to DM us if you trust us enough. We promise we won't share anything, or just leave in the comments. Let's engage. We've been having little more comments recently, and Sarah and I actually appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really fun.
We screenshot every single comment, and they're like,
yeah, I'll send
somebody
it.
commented.
I'll be like, did you see this comment?
I actually have seen auto comments because auto notifications pop up on my.
Oh, yeah. I need to change.
But
my
no, you should
notifications
keep
for
doing that because it's really funny.
Wait, I want to change that. I want the notifications too.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, maybe we'll just touch a little bit on like what we want to build with this podcast. Kind of like our vision. Yeah, in addition to just like having the fun FaceTime late night kiki vibe sesh and just like yapping or spilling whatever is on our brains. We also want to try to be vulnerable enough that we just want to build a community and a safe space for other mid-20s people like growing up in their 20s, whether you're Asian American or not, just like literally just any human being navigating life at whatever life stage you're at.
Right. Your mid-20s are such an interesting time because you've come off of college where you're like confused and kind of dumb, and then you're hitting like your prefrontal cortex era, and then you're about to enter your 30s where life is supposed to like, you're supposed to have your shit together. So
and
I think
marriage,
literally,
or kids, or like buying a house, or,
and it's like we want to embrace that like confusion and like these questions and like not knowing things. Then that's completely, like, we're trying to say it's completely fine.
Yeah.
In fact, we're the least qualified people to be giving advice. But that's the fun part of like being in your 20s, like talking with your friends at night, like over a beer or like 5 shots in. And sometimes the deepest advice come from those, right?
Exactly.
So that's
and it's
the fun
also
part.
like one of my favorite things about talking to friends and stuff, or just like even listening to other podcasts or hearing other people talk, is just like realizing that I'm truly not going through this alone. Like sometimes I judge myself and I'm like, this is a really dumb thing that I'm going through, or a dumb thought. But then I'm like, it's so comforting and validating to hear other people talking about it or going through stuff.
But we'll still be doing some fun ones from time to time and having guests, so that at least won't change too much. But I hope you guys are enjoying getting to know us a little more.
Really, like a lot more this episode.
We're just oversharing and just kidding.
I feel like we could overshare more, but I feel like I still have a filter.
We'll get there eventually. Maybe.
But yeah, drop us a comment and let us know of your canon events, like Aid said.
If you're comfortable.
If you are. Or you can DM us, like he said too. But thank you guys so much for watching. Truly do appreciate every single one of you. With that,
TTYL.